guys. Okay, I'm going to hope that I don't look like I do to me, to you guys. Can you guys tell me if the video is okay? Because I seem almost like I'm on a green screen. Yeah, Paula, that is probably... I'll be using that intro tomorrow, but it is probably going to go away by next week. I am tired of snowflakes and so ready for spring flowers. So, hi, Nate. Okay. How are you guys doing? Paula, I'm assuming you are still over at Karen's as well. Can you let me know when she gets done? Okay. I was going to say, I don't have super fancy camera equipment, so. Yeah, it is darker. I turned off a light. Mainly because I want to sleep tonight. But does that help any? Hi, Kenneth. Oh, okay. So while you guys are coming in, yeah, and see, it's also a daytime light thing, so it will screw with my sleep. Hi, Terry. Oh, why is it a sad day, Terry? Not good. Okay. I will leave the bright lights on then. Since I don't have to get up in the morning, that is fine. Alrighty. Okay, so while we are waiting just a little bit more, because I don't want to start too early. I'm sorry to hear that, Terry. And I'm sitting here now. Was Lee your husband? I'm sorry to hear that. I was going to say, and obviously I haven't really been paying attention to notifications today either. Oh, huge hugs, Terry. Oh, okay. I don't know Lee, I guess. Hi, Justin and Christina. Sorry to hear that, Terry. And now my cat's going to drag stuff across the kitchen floor and make a lot of noise. Gotta love kitty cats. See you later, Terry. Give me a call tomorrow if you want. Charlie, please go in the other room. All right. Okay. Hi, Lisa. So today we are going to be talking about habits. At least partially because I was asked to talk about habits. And I don't really think I'm a great master of habits. Hi, Steve. Well, thank you for stopping by. Hi, Ray. Okay, we've got some more people coming in. And my chat looks very wonky today. It keeps like taking stuff off after it has shown it to me. But that's okay. I've got some great mods, so if you guys know that I'm missing something, can you send me a message or text and let me know? And so format for tonight is going to be a little bit different than what I have done in the past. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I kind of want to do like sort of a mini guided meditation type thing. Very short, because I don't want people falling asleep on me, because it's after 11 where I'm at. Hi, Badge. Hi, Dan. Thank you guys for coming in. Hi, Lorraine. Yes, please hit the thumbs up on your way in. That definitely helps the channel out. Okay. And I've never actually led anybody in a guided meditation, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. But, and then I want to talk about habits for a little bit. And then it would be really awesome if we could kind of connect the two, and because I would love to know what kind of habits you guys want to implement to work towards what your dreams are. So, and if you guys don't know Desert Adventures in Arizona, he has an awesome channel as well. What did Ray do this time, Badge? All right. And I do believe sorry, I am still not great with the whole sharing screen thing. But and all right. And before any of the photography people that are coming in say, this is not my picture. Just so you know. I get most all of my pictures from Pixabay. All right. So, what I would like you guys to do, just real quick, is to shut your eyes and picture what you would like your dream life to be in, say, 5 years from now. Like, what big dreams do you have out there? And so maybe we're going to go for a walk, and are you in a different house? Are you at a gathering? Do you know different people? Do you what are your thoughts? Like, for me, you guys know, at least part of you know, I've got a vision video out, and my 5-year dream is to have, by that point, I am hoping to have already bought a campground and turned it into a homestead and be converting all the things. Okay, sorry. I cannot see chat on screen. I can only see it on my phone. So, yeah. Anyway, close your eyes. What do you want your dream life to be like in 5 years? What kind of a house are you living in? Is that a van? Is that somewhere out in the country? Is it in a city somewhere? Maybe on the other side of the world. What adventures are you going on? What are you, like, who are you planning to go on those adventures with? What is that dream? Where do you want to be? Okay. And then that's kind of the mindset I want you to think about while we're talking about habits. And go ahead and open your eyes again if you shut your eyes. Badge does kind of remind me of my uncles. Xanadu, that's slightly an odd question, but feel free to remove any clothing you want to remove, as long as you put clothing on if you are going to come up on the stream. Exactly, Steve. It's kind of that if you don't have anywhere that you're going, then, well, you're not going to get anywhere. But anyway, so I am not going to pay attention to chat for a little while. I'm just going to talk about habits real quick, and then I will come back and catch up on chat, okay? All right, so I tend to start out with the bare bones basics on pretty much anything I'm doing. So just so we're all on the same page, a habit is a settled tendency or usual manner of behavior, or an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. So the first might be like your morning routine. The second habit might be like smoking. A lot of people, like, they are really involuntary. Or I know for me, that's one of those things that my sleep cycle kind of gets into that habit category sometimes as well. So now over the course of this winter, I have oddly enough actually listened to a couple of books on habits. The first one was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it was an okay book. I know that's probably going to seem a little strange because so many people love this book so much. But, and it has a lot of good information. I will give it that. But I think it misses a couple of things for me. So, one of the big things with Atomic Habits is you have a cue, craving, response, reward sort of cycle that people go through. So if you're trying to learn new habits, you want it to be obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Because if it's those things, then it's easier for you to actually form that habit. At the same time, if you're trying to break a bad habit, you want to make it as invisible as possible. You want it to be unattractive. You want it to be difficult, and you want it to be unsatisfying. So, for instance, maybe you want to quit smoking just because it's an easy one. Invisible. Take your smokes out of your pocket, take them out of wherever you would normally put them in an out of the way spot so they're harder to get to. make it less attractive. Maybe you have to go outside to smoke, and so if it's cold or windy or rainy, it's not as attractive. It's also more difficult. And then and see, the unsatisfying part is the hard one for me on this, because I actually liked smoking. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for the raid. But at the same time, if you are wanting to start a habit, you want it to be easy to see. You want it front and center, right in front of your face, as much as possible. And you want to, like, you want to set it up so that you have that kind of immediate response. Like, something about it is rewarding. I think one of the examples in the book was some guy set his bike up so that there was an iPad and it would only play his favorite Netflix video if he was pedaling at a certain speed, type of situation. And you know, so like I said, lots of good information. You do need the cue, craving, response, and reward. But I think this book actually makes more sense to my brain because I've very much, as my kids told me the other day that I do the same things every day. And I'm like, what do you mean? No, I don't. And to some degree, I actually do. But in Elastic Habits, you actually, when you're setting up what you want to do, it's not one little thing. So with, for instance, when I was reading Atomic Habits, I was trying to exercise more. So I set it up so that, like, every time I went to the bathroom or something, I was going to do one thing. You know, it has that cue. I'm going to go to the bathroom either way, you know. So, so then every time after I washed my hands, I do some leg lifts or do some wall push-ups or that kind of thing. And okay, yippee, I did that. But there wasn't really enough reward because I didn't notice any immediate benefit, I guess you could say. So with Elastic Habits, there's vertical elasticity and lateral elasticity. You've got small, medium, and large, and then you've got 3 different kind of categories that you set up for each of the sort of the things you're wanting to work on. Hi, Charlie. So, for instance, on this chart, like, and I kind of set this up for YouTube because, I don't know, my brain was not computing a reading goal, which is the one that most people typically use. So, like, I had 2 shorts as, like, the top line would be your small kind of bare minimum. I've got to pick one during the day. So 2 shorts, or researching a video for 10 minutes, or planning 1 week worth of videos. And then sort of my medium goal for that day might be edit 30 minutes, do an outline of a video, or plan 1 month of videos. And then say I had more time that day, then I could edit an entire video, or I could write a script. I don't write scripts for my videos. If you haven't seen my videos, please realize I don't script my videos. Or maybe contact a future guest if you're a channel that happens to do interviews or something. And you don't have to do all of them, but like you can pick one. So I like this because you have more flexibility. And so I kind of combine the two. And I am very thankful to Ray from Van Life Rocks on this one because it's one I had forgotten about. But like, so we had been talking and he mentioned that he has a timer set up for posting on Instagram. And that's one of those things that I had wanted to do more of, but I rarely seem to think about doing it. So I just set a timer in my phone and I've got a bunch of pictures that I want to post. I've been doing a bunch of decluttering and lately I have gone through all of my portfolios. So like I've got pictures. One of the portfolios was basically high school stuff. Another was stuff from my grandfather. So it wasn't even my stuff. But then I had like one that was like all of my figure drawing pictures. So if you go to my Instagram, right now I'm posting one of my well, they won't all be figure drawing, but probably for the next month, it'll be figure drawing pictures once a day. So usually it's going to be around 11:55 if this phone is charged. But because I have that cue set up, I get in the habit of 11:55, and lately even I'm noticing, even if that phone's dead, around that time it's like, man, what am I normally doing right now? Because I'm starting to mentally get that cue. My brain is used to looking at pictures and posting at 11:55. And setting a timer or an alarm on something that you're going to have around you anyway is, in my opinion, a good way if you don't want to tie it into an established routine already. Because sometimes your routines can just get so big that you never finish them, and that kind of defeats the purpose too. I am going to talk about routines next week because I do use routines a lot, which is why my kids say I do the same thing every day. And then the next thing is, what's my why? Why am I doing this? What purpose does it serve? For me, as the more I declutter and deal with the stuff in my house, I'm realizing that I needed to, I guess you could say, like, go through the emotional steps of letting go of stuff that I used to do, the way things used to be, and sort of not necessarily grieve, because some things are coming back in different ways. But it's like I'm clearing out all of the clutter and the stuff that I don't need anymore because it's become a habit, honestly. I did that minimalism game in January, and it's like, it's pretty routine if I'm going through a shelf of something now. If I see stuff that's like, man, I don't use that anymore, out it goes. I use that hook, but the dishes are dirty. So anyway, what's my why behind that? I want to move. I don't feel like this is my forever home, and I want to move in the near future. You know, I don't want to wait 5 or 10 years to find that campground to buy. But, you know, a few years ago, I had found a house that I was going to try and buy, but it wound up being I had to sell this place to be able to get approved for that one, which meant I had to be able to sell this one. And I'm on the hoarding spectrum. So, you know, one of the first things they tell normal people is to remove half your stuff. So having so much stuff was not helpful, and I didn't move at that point. But I need to be in a position where I can easily pack this place up and go, if that is going to happen when it does. I'm not sure which book this example was in. But be a soaring bird. So if you've been, I was going to say, and I'm trying to think, I've seen birds around here do it, and we aren't near mountains. So, but there's just sometimes when you will see birds like soaring around in a circle, and they can get higher without flapping their wings. And they're basically riding the air currents, and they're making it easy on themselves rather than like a bird that's flapping. It's going to tire itself out. So if you can make something easy, it doesn't exhaust you so that you can keep going, if that makes sense. And now my mouse isn't working. Okay. And then the last thing is the reward. And I think this is one reason why I kind of think starting with your dream is a big deal. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to wind up with less reward. Could I say I want to declutter? I've been saying I wanted to get rid of stuff for 12 or 13 years. In the last year, since I've probably not even that long, okay, so it would have been September of 2019. Yeah, September of 2019 that I started seeing this vision of what I want and started making a bit more progress on getting rid of stuff. And exactly, Steve. So anyway, the reward in that situation, when you really want the desired outcome and the habit directly ties to that desired outcome, you get the reward without having to have a box to check. I keep hitting this hook. You don't have to have a box to check off. And quite frankly, I'm not at all. If the tracking mechanism for a habit is that I have to check off a box to know if I did it or not, because that generally tells me that whatever the outcome is of that thing is probably not something I want, and I need to find a different something, honestly. So, what habits support your dream life? That is what I would like to know. For me, it's working through all the emotional baggage and stuff to get to the point that I'm ready to go. Because that has to happen before that next step of moving can. Okay. And I'm back. I'm going to move the phone so I can just see this. Clutter and stuff is good. I will disagree with you, Jimmy. I will definitely disagree with you. Hi, Mike. All right, and Xanadu. And by the way, I've been watching y'all's videos, and I know there's two of you, and I know one of you is Bear, and I want to say the other is Tiffany, and I am sorry I don't call you by your name. I'm not sure why I picked up and just started calling you guys Xanadu. All right, so they always have a hard time starting a major project because I know I don't stop until it's done, then I don't enjoy the process. Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like, if you have, at least from what I'm noticing, it seems like if you have a a further out plan. Not necessarily plan. Plan's not the right word, but like if you have that bigger dream, and I'm sorry guys, that is very distracting for me. Hopefully it wasn't terribly distracting. I know a lot of people use those like scrolling things. I would sit here and I would be doing this all night. But it's like, it wasn't until I had the bigger dream of why I needed to get something done that I have successfully been able to actually work on it. All right, I am going to scroll up here as far as I can, but I don't know how long it'll let me. Oh, it actually let me go pretty far. So thank you guys for coming in. If I missed you before I switched screens, I'm not sure where I had stopped. Lisa, some of your videos would be very good to meditate to. Very good to meditate to. I was going to say, and this whole blame Ray for everything thing, I think to some degree there's an element of personal responsibility somewhere in there. Ray is not responsible for much outside of Ray's life. In my world, anyway. That's one of those, he can tell me about an alarm, but he can't make me set one. That's my responsibility. Bunch of people saying hello. So glad to see so many people coming in. Steve is living his dream right now. So I gotta ask Steve, if you're living your dream right now, what is the next, like, I mean, you're just okay, I'm just gonna be from day to day? What are things that you would like to do? Yeah, they definitely need to open the borders before September, because it sounds like several people are going to come to Michigan if they do. And I want to meet people. Where's Pie Face? I'm going to assume you mean DJ. I'm not sure where DJ's at. Hi, Ronald. Up in Iowa. Justin and Christina will be living in a van, part-time with family in Montreal, Quebec, and part-time on the road all over North America, or in San Felipe, Baja, Mexico. That sounds like an awesome dream, Justin and Christina. I'm assuming Badge and J. Scott are somewhat confused as far as order, because I'm seeing different things. Hi, Karen. Thank you for the raid. Rachel, how do I stop snacking? Honestly, I get stuff out of sight. That doesn't necessarily work. I know my son, it doesn't matter if it's in the freezer or in a cabinet, he snacks too. For me, the biggest thing is getting it out of sight. Because if I'm not seeing it, I don't think about it as much. Kind of making it invisible. And then I've kind of settled into, I typically eat from noon to midnight. I don't know. I think my son was doing 2 p.m., which seems strange. I couldn't handle an entire school day or most of a school day. And Curtis, thank you for joining us tonight. I know it's your first night on lives. Hi, Camille. Vertical wake up, lateral plan nap time. All right. So on the vertical versus the lateral thing, like say in the example I had given, one required you to be on camera for part of them. One of them required you to actually have a computer working because it had editing and that type of thing. Say the computer's dead and you don't want to talk to anybody, well, then a good one might be to grab your phone and research or read a book about a topic you want to do. That kind of thing. Set up your cues. Great idea to manage daily tasks to support and advance your long-term goals. Yes. And one of the things I've been learning about myself, I do work with routines a lot, and I was trying to piggyback the routines into being the cues, but it's really difficult if I'm having a bad day. And for those of you that don't know me very well yet, I do have some health issues, so there are days when it's a struggle to get my morning routine done before I go to bed. You know, I mean, there's just some days I have those days. You know, there was one day last week that, you know, even just like laying down I was working on the computer in bed, which I probably shouldn't have been doing anyways because I had to have been twisted around weird. But like I was laying on the side seam of my pants, and about 20 minutes later, my leg started itching. I looked, I had hives all the way up and down my leg from the pressure from the side seam. And that's not really abnormal for me to have stuff like that happen. So if I can have different, and that's one reason the elastic goals works really well for me, because I can do something. It might take me 2 minutes, or it might take me 2 hours to do something that would normally take me 2 minutes, but usually something in the realm to advance whatever I'm trying to work on is helpful. And okay. Steve explaining the science behind the soaring birds. Thank you, because that is not my strong suit. Karen? I'm a little confused because I don't think you're going, at least where I have you pictured in Canada, I don't think you would have to go past me to get to Chicago. Am I wrong about that? I guess I kind of pictured you coming down through like Wisconsin or the Dakotas. Hi, Justin and Christina. See you saying hi to Just Exploring Every Path, and I haven't gotten to them yet. This thing is putting things out of order tonight, so I am sorry, guys. And Vicky came in. Thank you. Hi. Just Exploring Every Path. Can you remind me of what your name is? And Tubin Through History as well. Hi. I don't know that I've met you before. Thank you for coming in. I did tell you to open your eyes back up, Xanadu. I was gonna say, and as far as the hypnotizing thing goes, Dawn is acting like a chicken. Oh my word. Hi, Mike. I was gonna say, I guess I hadn't thought about you being new because I see you in everybody else's live streams. I actually do use hypnosis quite a bit, actually. I have a playlist set up, and I will turn that on when I lay down to go to sleep. And then it's got like a few songs at the beginning that I just happen to like. And hi, Derek. I actually use that to help manage anxiety, but then it can also help with other things that you're wanting to work on. I tried to get my daughter to listen to one to quit grinding her teeth. It didn't work. She doesn't really sleep. Justin, but everyone calls me Jeep. Okay. Jeep and Derek. Michigan Free, I recognize. So I will have to go check out this channel. Or do you so Derek, do you create content on both? Hi, Creighton. Yes, I have histamine intolerance issues. Fortunately not from COVID. But I am so glad to hear that it has helped. When I was first diagnosed with histamine intolerance, I was looking for information, and it was one of those things where I was sitting there watching a YouTube video, and it was probably the 10th one I had watched. And it was one of those things where it's just like, so basically I just shouldn't eat anything. And so when I started thinking about taking all of the spare time I suddenly had last spring, and actually starting a YouTube channel, it was so other people didn't feel like that because they couldn't find information on how somebody could actually deal with it. So I'm very, very glad that it has helped you. Paula, I hope everything is okay with the storm. I have heard there have been some storms in a variety of places. So just please be careful. But yeah, so, and honestly, it's kind of become a habit. How bad is this? Because I created a YouTube channel, it's become a habit to constantly be looking for things to cook, because we usually have 15 or 20 things that we eat on a regular basis, and you guys don't want to see me cook the same thing over and over again. Okay, you be careful too, Karen. Is it like thunderstorm or snowstorm, or I know somebody said they had like 1.5 inches of snow this morning. Hi, Vicky. I was gonna say, as far as the hypnosis stuff goes, I think I've got one. Oh, I can't do that and stay. Well, shoot. we'll just go to the other phone. I think I've got one on like building confidence and public speaking because this is not natural for me. So Bear, that is actually, I started developing sensitivities. Actually, I probably had some already. But the first one that I had been able to pinpoint was eggplant. And that was, I was probably 20 when my brother sent me the article on that. And that one is actually specific to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Like 40 to 50% of people with EDS are sensitive to eggplant. All right, and Derek is trying to focus on this channel mostly. His daughter will be here. We hope we will be meeting fellow YouTubers and visiting history in the van. That is awesome. And Amy developed allergies and asthma as an adult. Yeah, I can totally understand that. And oddly enough, so when I went to an allergist, the only thing I'm actually allergic to is anxiety medication. The first panic attack I went to the ER for, they gave me IV Xanax, and it swelled my tongue up and clamped my jaw shut. Like to the point that I broke a tooth. Not quite the one that I just got replaced with an implant, but so all right. I was going to say, and I need to remember Tubin through history because I know I've got the other channel, but I don't think I have that channel. Oh, I was going to show you. So like for me, it's just become a habit when I'm getting ready for bed. I will plug in 2 of my phones and grab the third one, and I just go to, I actually have it set up on my other channel so I don't screw up my analytics for Going Green Mom. And I just have a playlist. That of course is not going to show up. And it's just called Sweet Dreams, and it's got like 5 or 6 songs. And and the guy that I like the most for the sleep hypnosis stuff, his name is Michael Sealey. Sealey. But I've got one on gratitude. I've got one on healing, happiness, and hope. One on weight loss. One on detachment from wants and desires. One on law of attraction. One on posture and confidence. And one on manifesting holistic abundance. And then a couple of songs. Y'all. So the last 2 songs I've got are the ones from Ray's fireworks on New Year's Eve. Those songs are awesome to wake up to in the morning. The playlist I put together, I naturally sleep for about 8.5 hours. So those, Paula being allergic to idiots definitely counts. I'm not sure I waited until an adult to develop that allergy, though. But anyway, my playlist is set so that it will run for right around the amount of time that my body naturally sleeps. So then those last 2, they're like, it's Tyra something or other. He gets it on Epidemic, but Tyra Shanty Sweet Talk. And there's like an instrumental version that's a little bit quieter, and then one with words. So anyway, so that's like a habit I've gotten into to help kind of work towards what I want to do, because for me to actually come on here, you know, if you watch some of my some of my first lives and my videos like were horrible. I was so uncomfortable talking to people in this manner. But some of that has helped with building that confidence. So other habits, like I'm noticing that in my routines, I'm getting a I've gotten like sort of the house and the decluttering are closer to where I want it to be at this point, but I'm noticing that I haven't worked in, yes, my Instant Pot is off. It gets to take a break because it made me a super yummy supper. But like I haven't worked YouTube into my routines during the week. So even though I've got goals and I've got that vision of helping people through my YouTube channel, I don't have the habits in place to get me where I want to be. So that's one of those things where yeah, it is a slow learning process. But if I can, and that's one of those things where, okay, I set up a cue in my phone to remind me, hey, you want to go post a picture, kind of expressing that creative side on Instagram. Well, then I'm getting into that habit slowly but surely. So then it's like my shorts series, however you're supposed to say that, y'all. Grammar is not my strong suit, especially this late at night. So like lately I haven't, the first couple I did in batches. So it was one of those things where they were done, they were scheduled, and I didn't have to think about it. I just had to make sure I went and checked for comments every day. And then I did the minimalism game, and I got out of, I could not do that all in one big batch because I was actually sorting through stuff to find stuff every day. And then I didn't get, I don't know, it's not a good part of my routine yet. So I set another time or alarm, I guess is actually a better word for it, on my phone. I know I'm going to be on the phone sorting through pictures at 11:55. And I have kind of seen that my numbers tend to be better if I post more early evening, like before people get into lives too much. But so in order to do that, I set an alarm for 12:07. I never set even numbers. Hi, Newman. I don't know why. It's just a thing with me. My alarm clocks are like 10:04 or 6:27. I don't know. I'm just weird that way. So I've got one set for 12:07 because, okay, that will have given me enough time to stop what I was doing to tend to the Instagram alarm, get the Instagram post done, the story and the highlight done. And then I can just jump over if I need to do the voiceover for a short. I can do that. I'm pretty systematic in how I've got the short set up so I can copy and paste the description pretty easily. And they're on different phones. I've been doing the Instagram pictures from this phone. I've been doing the shorts on this phone because this is the one with the screen capture software. So I pull up tags on this one and type them in on this one, because that's like the one thing that I don't have. I can't really do that automated, but it's more likely to get done because it's easy if I do it from the phone instead of having to grab the computer. Especially if the kids are here, because then I just don't have the computer. Vicky, I can understand that. In the last 12 to 13 years, it's been, I started with Fly Lady and trying to learn to declutter and stuff probably a year and a half before my mom passed. And then I wound up with a bunch more stuff from the house after she passed. Some business related stuff, some other stuff, and then my dad sold that house about a year and a half later. So then it was like everything was coming here. Over the years, I've cleaned out multiple storage units, and got it down to just the trailer I live in, the shed that's here, and my camper. And like right now, I've pretty well cleaned out the camper too, just so everything is here. But it's taken time. And, you know, since, well, by the time she passed, I'd already lost 2 grandparents and had stuff from both of them. And now my dad has also passed, so I've got stuff from him. But it's just sort of, you start with your stuff, and then like you can eventually, as you go through the grieving process, it gets easier to let go of some of that. Have a great night, Steve. Yeah, and it's 2 minutes till midnight, so I am not staying on terribly long. Yeah, it definitely takes time. And like I said, it's been 13 years since I started working on it. And I've gotten rid of 2 storage units, plus stuff at my parents' house, plus, you know, I had stuff at the camper for a while. It's just, it takes time. And when it becomes a habit to not bring things in, that helps. When it becomes a habit to, you know, go through the things that you do have and see if you're using them or if you're appreciating them on a regular basis. Yeah, Vicky, I'm not much help there. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the portfolios, it was stuff from my grandfather's, and then like I had a few things in one of the others, and I happened to know that it had been out of his and grandmother's stuff that portfolio came from. I had started using it for my own stuff, but then I'm going through it and it's like I've got a painting by somebody that I don't know who they even are. I've got a couple of tree drawings, one in ink and one in graphite. No idea who the art, like it's signed. So, I mean, I know a name. And then a charcoal that I'm guessing is probably the same artist, but it was like Bonnie something, and the other one was signed as Bon Bon. I'm going, I don't know who that is. And I highly don't start on sentimental stuff at all. At all. Probably the easy stuff for me to start on is the disposable stuff. And like for me, so for instance, I started using towels instead of paper towels. I know that seems like a strange thing to think about as far as decluttering, but it's one less thing I have to store. So it takes up less space. I no longer store straws. I decluttered straws in January. Okay? I've had my, let's see here, Dad's been gone for a little over 2 years. So I've had my metal drinking straws for two or 2.5 years. Maybe 3. Because I had gotten metal straws just before he got me my Yeti cup the Christmas I started at the casino. Because I had to have a certain kind of cup to take it to work with me in the kitchens. So I mean, start with stuff, I mean, at least, and I know there are people that can be sentimentally attached to stuff like paper. I know that sounds strange, but from a hoarding perspective, it's one of those things where you develop emotional attachments to everything. And for me, it's kind of been a habit of, if I'm replacing it with something better, it loses that emotional need, if that makes sense. So like, yeah, I started off with stuff that I don't, it's not, it's everyday stuff. It's not something I inherited from somewhere. The tricky part is living a life that is fun and full and not let the camera and YouTube take you out of the moment, or any job for that matter. Most definitely. And that's one of those, it's like, when I first started on YouTube, I was trying to, and I was really concerned about tonight, that the whole doing the presentation type slide thing, I needed to convey the information, but I was really concerned it would wind up being like my first videos and very boring. So hopefully, let me know if this was an okay format, because I would like to go through routines and systems the next couple weeks. But if this has been super boring for you guys, I don't want to redo that, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's somewhere between when my mom passed and my dad passed. Number one, it should be noted that the hoarding tendencies run through my mother's line, not my dad's line. And so he had pared down what they had, or what he had, a ton. But then between those time frames, what I'd kind of figured out I could do would be, okay, what was like one thing that's useful that I have, that I appreciate, that I remember from the person, and how can I incorporate that into my everyday life? And this is going to sound really strange, you guys. I have got one of those like little non-electric sweeper things. It's got a couple of brushes, but like you run it back and forth on a carpet and it'll pick stuff up, and then you empty the trays out on either side. I've got one of those that was from my grandfather. It was in his apartment, but I know they had it elsewhere. I think it was probably out in the shop, because he had a couple of rugs out there to make it easier on his back when he was doing carvings. And it was something that it's useful. I've got lots of his pictures. Both of my grandparents were great photographers, and I've got pictures he did in charcoals. I've got carvings. I've got sculptures. I've got photographs. If anybody wants a complete set of bullfighting photographs, let me know. Because at this point, the family doesn't want them. And that stuff has sat in portfolios or in boxes or wherever for years because he passed in 2006. I've got photos of grandmothers. And I've got like the mock-ups from when she was putting together a museum exhibit on Black pottery. I've got that stuff. It's not useful. I've got her quilting stuff. And I've even got like her knitting basket that she kept by her chair. I don't knit. It's not useful. The basket will probably get repurposed for something else eventually. But like she had started one quilt and then she got to the point that her sight was bad enough and she just couldn't finish the quilt. So then she gave what she had of it to my mom. And my mom, by training, she was a home ec teacher and she sewed pretty much her whole life. But so she went ahead and finished piecing it and like sandwiched it together. And now one of the things I would like to take the time to do is learn how to quilt it because grandmother always quilted everything by hand. And I would like the kids and I to actually be able to work on that quilt and quilt it and get it finished. And it would be a 4-generation quilt. And it's one of those things, it would be so cool to have something like that we had all had our hand in and touched, you know? And then at the end, it's also useful. All right, Justin's father's a way bigger pack rat than your... Yeah, and it's strange. I mean, it seems like there are certain tendencies in families. And I've had conversations with my cousins on my mom's side, and we've all had different levels of issues with it. And I'm not married and haven't been, but it's like, if you look at like my kid's dad's family, his mom sort of has some of the same tendencies. But if you look at her, okay, so I was out there when I was pregnant with my now 17-year-old. So, and her parents have both passed, unfortunately, too. So, but it's like, if you were to look at their house, they were not in any way, shape, or form pack rats. Now, that probably comes with the amount of kids they had, because they had 12 living. And so, I mean, they couldn't have a ton, but they learned those skills. And once you learn the skills to let go of stuff, it makes it easier because it becomes a habit. I don't know. That's the only way I know it. And it takes a lot of work to make that a habit because there is so much emotional stuff to go through. I know some people do like the KonMari method where you're doing huge amounts of stuff all at once. I'll tell you, decision fatigue is a real thing. It is so draining at times. Badge, I agree. When you can get to 1 in, 1 out, that is awesome. I'm not there yet. Not even close. I actually did an Amazon fast for a year, a couple years ago. And that helped kind of break the addiction of hitting that buy it now button. So Vicky, she actually had all of the cloth already cut. So there's nothing as far as clothing we would be doing. As far as that goes, I don't have binding for it at this point. Decision fatigue, yes. And I was going to say, that's one of those things. I know that there's a variety of TED Talks on it, as well as various books and things. But that's probably the biggest place I've seen that talked about is in terms of clothing and people deciding to wear a uniform. If you basically have all of the same type of clothes, not that I can, okay, y'all, it is past midnight. I cannot talk. If you basically all have all of the same thing, you don't have to make decisions on what you're wearing that day. And that kind of frees up your brain to have more, I guess, processing power, you could say, later in the day when you need to make important decisions, you know. And it will probably come up more in a couple of weeks. Oh, and I did not see, have a good night badge. 7 loincloths. Oh my word. Nate. Oh, nice, Maggie. So yeah, decision fatigue will likely come up in my systems conversation. For those of you guys that are still here, can you put in chat a 1 if this was an okay format for tonight? If you think it was helpful to have the sort of short, concise slides to look at it first and then go into more of a conversation style. Was this an okay format for you guys? Okay. All right, and I am starting to see ones coming into chat, so I will plan on doing the same kind of sort of format for next week. And talking about routines. I'm probably more passionate about routines than habits, just so you know. I do think some about habits, but that's one of those things where, hi, Lance. At least you got the right number to substitute. Maggie, no worries. I think it's probably helpful to go back and catch it later. The first part was much more concisely focused on like thinking about your dream, and then we've kind of used that as sort of a springboard for looking at habits that would help you get to those dreams. I guess if Lance only has 4 loincloths, you better have a habit of doing laundry more than once a week. Man, you guys are nuts. But you make me laugh. So, I am going to try to see if anybody is live right now. But anyways, definitely hit, I wanted to say hit rewind, but I guess we don't really have rewind at this point. But you guys are old enough to know what that is. So, all right. So anyway, you guys are crazy. And I am not seeing anybody. So, you know, I have been told that writing down your goals is helpful. I don't really see, this gets back to that whole focus word thing. I don't have a whole lot of goals. I've got dreams. I've got vague plans on how to get there. That is awesome. We will go raid Mark at Rolling Homestead and Wild Edibles. If one of my mods can find a link for that, that would be awesome. Well, Xanadu, and I'm doing it again. Bear, rewind isn't really a thing once you get to like DVDs. You know, and you don't have that tape that like you have to go in with your pencil or pen to like scroll back if you don't want to listen to the other side, you know. So yes, if people want to support Traveling Mike, that would be fine. And then Karen just grabbed the link for Mark over at Rolling Homestead and Wild Edibles. Coming up on my channel, as far as some things I would like to get into, probably on my Tuesdays for a while, intermixed with like garden tours and some of the more homesteady type. I would like to start going through some of the herb journaling type stuff I would like to get into, because I would like to get into a habit of learning more about the herbs that I take, as well as the herbs that I can grow. So you can expect to see some more of that coming up in the future. I've got an equipment thing coming in the mail soon that will allow that to happen. At one point in time, I did have an 8-track. I had 8 tracks. I had no 8-track player. I always watch happy movies. I don't like watching sad movies or scary movies because I want to feel happy. So I totally get that, Maggie. I am going to let you guys go. Have a great night. And Karen, if you can drop that link again, I will see you guys over at Mark's. Okay? Have a great night.